The Golden Bull, Chapter 22, Part 2. Jomar found the ears and horns nestled against one another in the basket. All four pieces had pegs of wood attached to their bases. The long, graceful horns had sharp tips of lapis. Jomar thought of the splendid living bull that he'd seen at the temple's New Year's ceremony so long ago. I remember seeing a bull about to be sacrificed with tips of gold on its horns. Why are these tipped with, he started to ask, with lapis, Sita broke in. When the head is finished, the effect will be striking. I'm going to cover a horn with tar. Watch how I do it, because you'll do the second one. Notice that I don't touch the lapis tips with the tar. What Sita was asking him to do seemed impossible. Even after watching you, I don't think I'll be able to do this, Jomar said. Under his breath, he muttered, I'm not your son. I know, Sita snapped, but you're here and he's not. Startled by the force of Sita's answer, Jomar focused on watching Sita tar the horn. Then it was his turn. It was not a simple task to brush the black, honey-like material over the horn's cylindrical surface. He worked slowly while Sita returned to working on the head. While he was applying the tar, Jomar glanced at the bull's golden head. Again, he had expected a wonderful transformation, but this was not the case. It still didn't look like a bull, and it lacked the luster of Batati's gleaming jewelry. How will you make the gold shine? With slow, careful work, Sita answered. First, the bull must be given a lifelike muzzle. His eyes must be strong and challenging. The head must be made ready to receive the ears and horns. Finally, the piece must be polished to bring out the luster you admire. So many steps, Jomar said to himself. Sita looked at Jomar as if he could read his thoughts. There are many tasks ahead of us. In a way, it's not unlike the slow, careful work of planting and harvesting. But working with gold is much more difficult, Jomar said. That's because farm work seems natural to you, Sita said. But I know it must have taken your father years to acquire his knowledge of plants and animals, weather and soil. Jomar mulled over what Sita had said. I think you're right, but why did you choose a farm boy who knew nothing about gold to be your apprentice? Sita paused before answering. I had just lost Abin when I met your father. I was moved when he told me about how much he would miss your skills and energy after you left the farm. Sita's eyes misted. He said he would miss your company most of all. My father said that? I didn't know he felt that way about me. Sita seemed to struggle with himself before speaking. I'm glad I told you, he finally said. I made the same mistake with Abin. I told him how proud I was of his skills, but not that I loved him as a person, as a companion. Jomar looked down and saw his father's sandals on his feet and was ashamed. He'd been so angry at being sent to Ur and having to be responsible for Zepha that he neglected to thank his father for giving him his own sandals and accepting his frayed ones in return. Jomar decided to ask Sita a question that had bothered him for a long time. When you made an agreement with my father to accept me as your apprentice, you didn't think I'd be helping you with the lyre, did you? Sita stopped working, his hands idle in his lap. You're right. I wouldn't have chosen you if I'd known. When your father and I talked, I thought you'd be helping me with my usual assignments, making jewelry, drinking straws, ceremonial weapons. Even though you made an agreement with my father, I don't think Nari wants me here, Jomar said quietly. Nari was hurt and angry when I told her I'd accepted you as my apprentice so soon after Abin's death, Sita said. It was my right to make such arrangements, but I should have given her more time to mourn. He was her son as well as mine. Sita shook his head sadly as if to rid it of these thoughts. He returned to his work, now pressing the gold sheet against the tarred wooden bull's head, with a hammer covered with leather. Again, Jomar was lulled by the refrain of Sita's steady rhythm.